Thank you, Carlos, and good morning, everyone. So in this session, I will introduce the IRENA FlexTool, and I'm also going to demonstrate how to install and run a test model. So I will actually do the last part by sharing my screen, and so that we can go step by step through it together. And if there will be any issues or errors that you might encounter, then please do let us know through the chat, and we will do our best to resolve those issues. So first of all, just some basic information on the tool. The FlexTool, first of all, is a free software, and it can be redistributed or modified under the GNU Lesser General Public License. And the tool was developed together with VTT Technical Research Center of Finland. And there's always ongoing developments for this tool, and new versions will be announced on the IRENA website. Regarding future developments, new features are developed according to the user needs and wishes. And for example, developments or updates of the recent versions, most of them were actually updated based on user needs and wishes. So if you have any suggestions or comments, they can be submitted to the FlexTool email address that you can see below. Regarding the versions of the FlexTool, well, the first public version was launched in November 2018, after which we've had several updates. So an updated version, version 1.2, was launched in April 2019, and this version actually had newer features, and it also had an improved result printing. After this one, the latest version was launched in April of this year, and this is the version 2.0. And again, this version also had some further improvements in results printing and also added units with multiple outputs, better unit-specific constraints. We also have some support documents together with the tool that were launched. The publications that you see on the left-hand side actually are publications related to power system flexibility, the topic in general, but also related to the FlexTool. While the publications that you see on the right-hand side are specific country cases that were developed with these specific countries, where FlexTool was used to assess the power system flexibility. So for this next part, I will actually share my screen so that we can go through the steps of the installation and how to run a test model, and we can do this together. So from the poll, actually, we've noticed that most of you have successfully downloaded the tool. So this is the actual package that you should have received once you've downloaded the tool. I'll just give a few seconds so that we're all at the same step. So this, as you can see, is actually a compressed folder. So the first thing that you need to do is to right-click here. And once you right-click, you can click on Extract here. So this will actually extract all the files and create another folder together with this folder, so in the same location. And so now what you see is a separate folder here, which is now our extracted files are in this folder. For my case, I can actually see two different symbols, so it's easy to distinguish. But in the case that you have the same symbol or you see two folders, I would suggest that you can rename the folder so that you can distinguish which one is the compressed folder and which one is the extracted one. So now we will double click here, and here we can see a number of files. And together with these files, we also see a folder called input data. But we will go through this input data folder shortly. So right now, the file that we're actually interested in is this EXO file called FlexTool. So we're going to double click and open this file. and this opens up. Now, the first thing that you would need to do, and this is a quite important step, is that of enabling the content here. So again, we will click on enable content when we receive the security warning, because if we do not do so, then we will receive some errors when running the model. So now what you see here is that you see all these different tabs. We will go through these tabs shortly, but right now, let's focus on the getting started tab. So this essentially what you see here, down here, you see all the steps that we will go through right now. So these are all the steps that I'm going to go through with you. And the first thing that we need to do is, first of all, enabling the content. And another way of enabling the macros is by going onto File. So we're going to click on File. We're then going to go on to Options, and this window pops up. And then we will go to Trust Center, and we will click on Trust Center Settings. This will then open up another window, and we will then go to Macro Settings. Once we click on Macro Settings, this is what you should be seeing. So in Macro Settings, the second point should be clicked. So we should have this point here, disable all macros with notification. And at the bottom, this square should be checked. So trust access to VBA project object model. So then we press OK, and we press OK once more. So I will repeat this process once more. So again, first of all, we have enabled the content, and then we click on File. We click on Options. This window pops up. We then go into Trust Center on the bottom. We then click on Trust Center Settings. Another window pops up. We then go into Macro Settings, and this is how it should be. So your second point, disable all macros and notifications, should be clicked, and there should be a tick here, a check on the box that says trust access to the VBA project object model. There have been some cases where for some people the model was still not working, and it actually then worked once they clicked enable all macros. But for now, we will just leave it as it is here. So and if you are still having some issues after doing this, then please do let us know in the chat, and we will try our best to resolve those issues for you. So again, this is how it should be. We then click OK, and we click OK once more. So now that you have done this, we can now go on to the next tab, which is the sensitivity scenarios. The sensitivity scenarios, this tab is actually where we will run the model. And so you see various options here. And so, for example, here, this table here, which says options for the modeling process, these are just options, for example, when running the model. So for now, we will leave them as they are. So all of them should be ticked. So for example, import results after optimization, create plots in the results file. These are all options for a modeling process, but we will leave them as they are. So what you see here essentially is you see two columns on the left for the input files, and you see two columns on the right for the scenarios. So the input files, as the name suggests, they are the files that you will input. So your data, your input data for your power system, including your transmission capacity, information on storage, on your nodes, all this kind of information, all this input data will go under this active input files. Well, scenarios are the scenarios that we would like to run. So as you can see, there's active and inactive for both. So active essentially is those that are being considered right now, and inactive are the ones that will not be considered at the moment. So the model will not be running them. However, it is possible to run more than one. So for example, if we click here, we see that we've just shifted the demo model file as an active input file. However, for now, what we will do is to just have the template file as an active input file. And when it comes to the scenarios, we will put the invest scenario as inactive. So we will just keep the active scenario will be the base one, and the active input file will be our template. We can also, if you see this tab here, define our sensitivity scenarios here. So we have some different information that we can input here. We have our capacity margin, non-synchronous share, inertia limit. So all these kind of inputs can be inserted in this tab here. So for now, what we will do is I will now open this template file. Just before doing that, there's also a way of putting another file, so you can import your own file if you would like, and you can do this by, for example, clicking in an empty cell. And when you click on an empty cell, this window pops up. So you can upload your own file, your own template that you want to input. So this is also possible. For now, we will just use the template file. So if we now go back to our folder, and now we can go into the input data folder, which I was talking about before. And if we double click on the input data, this is essentially where you find your template files. These, of course, can be modified to your needs. For now, we will click on the template file, which is the one that we are inputting. And so this opens up. Again, we will enable the content here. And so this file, you can see, has different tabs with different data that you can input. So we have data on our nodes that we can input, data such as demand, import, capacity margin, non-synchronous share. We have information on the different units. We have also information such as your load profiles. So all this data can be inputted in using this file. So you can modify this to your needs, to the needs of your power system. And so for now, we will leave it as it is. And we can now go back to our FlexTool file. And we can now run the model. So in order to run the model, again, we will have our active input file will be the template, and our active scenario will be the base. And we will have all these options as you see. And so there's one possibility is that of clicking on run scenarios. However, we will click on write time series, because by doing so, this will actually run the scenarios as well. So once we see that we have our template here, we have our base here, we can now click on write time series, and this should run the model. So just a few seconds, so we let the model run. So essentially, this will actually create another Excel file with your results. So the file has been created, so we will now open this file. And this is essentially what you see. So what you see here is, this is a summary. So the first tab is a summary of your results. And this table here called sheets is essentially all these tabs. Since there are a lot of them, this is just for ease of access. You can access all the tabs of your Excel sheet directly from this table. So you can just click on that, and it will help you access the particular results that you are looking for right away. So For example, if we have a look right now in the summary table, in the summary tab, excuse me, you will see that an optimal solution has been found. Here we can have a number of the iterations, solving time in seconds. We can see the total cost objective function, some data on the operational cost of units. So all this information is available here. We can also have a look at the various plots that have been created and under operations. So there's a lot of data, a lot of results that you can explore with this tool, as you can see. Then under costs as well, we can have a look at some plots over here. Then when you go under nodes, again, even here you have different results available for you. You have plots as well as tables of your results. So for example, here we have our node A, and then we have also a plot of that of those results for node A, and the same thing for all these other nodes. So basically, this is how to run the tool, how to install the tool, and how to run a basic test model. I hope this this was useful. I hope you understood it fully. Again, if you're still having some issues or some trouble with the tool, please do let us know in the chat, and we will try our best to resolve those issues for you. And so this ends this session. So with this being said, thank you for listening, and Carlos, back to you.